to the cloud. Okay, I am recording to the cloud. Good morning, and I am Andrea Goeglein, and this is actually week 3 of the check-in for the Unicorn Challenge. Today we get to talk about tips 8 to 14, which happens to be some really favorite ones of mine. I'm not sure how everybody else felt about them when they did or did not do them. And we've got some new people joining in, and in general, hey there, Kirsty. So I'm just saying that we're going to be reviewing tips 8 to 14. But most importantly, this process is for you to tell me which of the tips are a nuisance, what's working, what's not working type of thing, so that we could collectively help you push forward. So no matter where the tip is, just know that the real purpose we're doing this is so that we can get over the little hurdles together versus in isolation. So with that, I will just tell you that, Judith, I did get to listen to the podcast and I loved it. The impact of music and the realization that the impact of music on mood and how it's finally, even in its small 10,000 person training, is finally getting ground. So congratulations. That was a great podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let me open it up. Whether it's any of the tips from 8 to 14 or other ones, what's working for you, what's not?
I found myself doing every single one of them, either before or after reading about them or watching the videos. It's like, oh yeah, I was right there doing it. So I like just the really short reminders of what you need to pay attention to, because it really doesn't take a lot of time to just get yourself focused instead of being scattered throughout the day with all these things that you got to do. There's something about just spending that, because in the past I've gone, well, what good is 1 minute going to do? But it does make a difference.
Great. Thank you. You've really touched on exactly why I've crafted this the way it is. It does not take a long time. When you do the front end of the dump list and you at least have a place to work from, the process really becomes, it is truly the underlying of the ageless edge. Continual learning. There is never going to be a time where you should not be doing these tips in your life. They are not unique tips. They are what you are to do in order to achieve. So Kirsty, what about you?
So I'm going to be completely honest. I'm a little bit behind on the challenge. I thought about pretending I was on time, but no, I'm behind. I'm on step 8, and I think it's very coincidental that I am, because it's, stop rushing, focus. And I felt called out in the video when it's running around like crazy, and I think that's my biggest thing right now. I think it really comes down to me and figuring things out. I decided I needed a schedule, so I tried coming up with a schedule of my whole day so I could plan for everything, fit it in. And part of that schedule involved waking up early, and I haven't done that yet. And so it really comes down to me figuring out like what's actually going to work and really carving out that time to do it. Because like you said, it really comes down to taking that time out to focus. And it's hard because when you're rushing and doing a million things, it's like, I'll do it later. That's my biggest downfall, is saying I'll do it later.
Yeah. I want to talk about 2 things, 3 things actually that you said, because I think they're universal messages for us. Anyone who's ever lived and tried to achieve a goal. We get behind. We have great intentions and we start out great. And, in the dieting world, the joke was always, you started a diet every Monday. That was because something happened, between the last time you started. But that's honestly who we are. And then you touched on the fact that, you were going to pretend that that you were really caught up. this goes along with the not rushing. The day we realize that the quicker we become aware of where we are, and then what action might work better than the ones before versus the external, because the concept of, oh, maybe I'll just pretend that I was, caught up, is an external judgment concept. It's what you don't want me or any of the other people in the group to see and know. And that's nonsense. That's the love, like, my unicorn, now that I'm back in my home office, will be joining me. All I have is my little unicorn, but her horn has recently gotten, dehorned, and I haven't re-glued her. The more we lighten up, there is a book, and I'll make sure that I send it to everyone. I haven't mentioned it in that actual tip. The elimination of rushing, or it's something like that. It's basically a person who was a high driving A type, realizing that the elimination of the concept of rushing around, that everything had to be done now, and everything was just getting rid of that feeling helps. And then the other thing you said that I thought was perfect. So you set a goal. I'm going to get up earlier. This is how I'm going to do this. Are you a person that likes the mornings?
I do when I get up early. When I get up early, I love it, and I think I should do this more. But then my snooze button and I are BFFs. So I have to get past that.
See, and now, Judith, do you have that tendency? Because I do not.
No, I was up at 4 this morning.
Right.
I
actually
have done.
always gotten up ahead of my alarm. I'm the one that loses a half hour of sleep waiting for the alarm to go off, and that's its own problem. But I will tell you that what you've identified is the snooze button. So that becomes the game. If you hit the snooze button once or twice, and the snooze button lasts for, how long does your snooze button last for?
That's a good question. I think I'm half awake when I press it. And then just throw my phone.
What I'm going to say to do is set the alarm. Like if you're a 1 or 2 time snooze button hitter, add those minutes, because snoozes last, like on my phone, I think it lasts 8 minutes. Snooze is an 8-minute thing. A lot of times it's 5 minutes. See how long it really is. Add that in. So it's like, don't wake up being resistant already. Don't make the snooze button your enemy. Make it just a part of the process. Like, oh, I know I could hit this 2 more times and still reach my goal. Okay. It's a little bit what I do with not excessive exercise. I walk a lot. And the joke is I walk because I eat. And I had a choice a long time ago, which of the 2 things. I could reduce the amount of food I eat, or I could just walk more. So I just decided to walk more, because I love walking. It's not an unpleasant thing. You like touching the snooze button. It's not an unpleasant and that's what I'm saying. Get the resistance out of your system. And the more you play with what shows up, like being really honest about the fact that you and the snooze button are BFFs, it's like me and eating chocolate after certain meals, like every meal, other than breakfast. I could give it up, or I could just walk a little bit more, and then it all comes out in the wash. So once you give up the resistance, then it is amazing what you allow to open up. And Judith, you're agreeing. Is there something you'd like to add?
I'm just reflecting on a couple of the things with like writing down lessons learned from rejections and reminding myself about the benefit of reflecting on that, so that it's a course correction and you go, yep, not doing that again.
Right. I will tell you, I had really a very interesting rejection. A year or so ago, for the first time ever, I was inspired to fill out an application to become a professor at a local college, because for the first time ever, I felt there was a college that had leadership I could really admire. And they had openings in my field, and I thought, no brainer. So I worked for days putting together this beautiful package. And, you do this all electronically. And I put it all together. I submit it. I don't know if send had really been hit by the time I got rejected. And I was crushed. I was like, are you kidding me? I could do this class in my bleeping sleep. So it was this thing. Now imagine this. 6 months later, I am approached by this same organization to become a trustee.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. And so when we allow the things like I had to look at, and this is why I put that the rejection one in there. Once you decipher, and my mentor Marty Seligman in positive psychology tells the story, he was the president of the APA, and he couldn't get any more awards, and he started getting bum student reviews. And he had to examine whether or not they were right. And that's why it's important to look at things and people that you think are rejections so that you can work with yourself. Like one of the things about this job is they wanted someone who would be tenured tracked. Well, I already am I'm already aged out of their system. So that may have been something, but I put in my cover letter, I have no interest in tenure track because it has no purpose in my life. So there's any one of a lot of things that could have happened. But it helps me and it helps you to neutralize the emotional impact of what appears to be a rejection. And that's the critical thing. It's that you neutralizing it and you being able to move on from there. Or just like, what, I still know, because I like to teach, obviously. It doesn't mean I will not find another opportunity where I will teach in that kind of a setting. But it was the ability to speak freely about it. I even asked, I asked 2 people to please check and see if they could find out anything. And they've never come back to me. And I've asked more than once, and I just decided to be respectful. And like, okay, there's something else here that I just don't know about. Nasara, I see that you've unmuted. Would you like to contribute something?
Yes. So I have been working. So I made a career shift about 2 and a little over a half years ago, and I have consistently been working on my schedule since. So in that same time, I switched from like a paper planner over into like a Google Calendar, which I love. And I have been modifying that puppy ever since. And it just seemed like I was always trying to, reorganize the calendar to, check all the boxes. And then I read like 12-week year, and now I have like a scoring system. And I would proudly say that probably this month so far, we're only 7 days in, but I have been consistently hitting at least 70% of the tasks on my schedule or more. I also have the issue, which I totally laughed when she said that she's BFFs with her alarm clock, because my husband will proudly attest to the fact that I am also BFFs with my alarm. Granted, each day is a little different. Sometimes I get to bed on time, on other days I don't, but I really try hard to, because I like going to bed, waking up at the same time. Right. So right. I have just really dialed in my goals. And I know a lot of people would look at me today and just be like, oh my God, you got it so figured out. But I would very quickly remind them that this was a over 2.5-year process.
I love, okay. And that's perfect, because Nazar, I'm not sure if you were on, I had a scheduling snafu, and I did not want to change this appointment and its start time, but it meant that I do have to skirt along, because when I set these 7 weeks of follow-up, I did it on the East Coast, and my calendar had shown a 12:30 appointment, which is actually a 9:30 appointment once I landed back on the West Coast. But I want you to know, I so appreciate that you're sharing with us the amount of time it takes for a habit to embed. That's why this thing is a 60-day challenge and not a 28-day, or in 21 days you do this. You know what? Get in on the party that this happens always. And all that has to happen is that you will try again. You will try again. Like, there is this wonderful line, knock down 7 times, get up 8.
Love it.
And I really believe that that's what we are called to do. It is the fact that we keep getting up and we keep trying this version and sneaking in these little calls, any amount of anything that we can just keep us on track will help. So I will tell you that we will be in connection on email. I'd even be willing to hop on another call in between next week, but I do have to scoot off, because it is for my hair. And I am the person. Hey, let's be clear what's important here. I have a joke in my family that, all of my girlfriends have this, not all, many are getting these gorgeous, silver hair, and they're owning it and all this stuff. And I'm the one who told my daughter, before you cremate me, you get my hair colored. I'm that.
Love it. Have a great appointment.
Yes. So I'm going to rush off. We will meet again for sure next Tuesday. No problem at all. But in between, if you want to touch base with me, or if you want to try and have us get together again, you just reach out and we will do it. That work? All right.
Yep, sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And